A lot of people have been fascinated and talking about too the large percentage that's been burned. Can you talk a little bit about? And I'll go to the burn page so we can look at the stat. But can you talk a little bit about um, the shoot? Where is that? Where can I see the burn on here?
Just go back to Go Pulse, like click on the main one. There we go. And right in the PulseX square tells us the burn tally of 635 billion.
PulseX. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so right in its square right there, that's the most pertinent information
Wow.
you need. Click on it, it gives you the actual running total, or should display up on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, 635 billion or 0.06 trillion. We're approaching 1 trillion burned. That's what's happening right here. And now, one of the things I also didn't account in my math model originally, but I did tweak for a little fun, was initially when everybody got into the market, the liquidity pool swelled so that there was 2.2 trillion PulseX tokens, up to 2.3 trillion at one point, on the market for sale and being provided in liquidity. That was giant, like a tank. And like I said about preparing for bull run, not wanting to leave those tokens there anymore, not believing to get crab market fees, that has shrank now to 1.2 trillion. Now, this is significant because this gets easier to move, and the correlation that, hey, that buy a burn in 7 months has burned 0.6 trillion, like half of what's in that liquidity. So essentially, if it can keep going at the same pace for another, well, it's almost been 8 months now. If it can keep going for the same pace for another 8 months, just the buy and burn, if everyone stops selling, if it started to turn into a bull market and everyone gets nervous, all of a sudden the liquidity that's there, well, in 8 months, if it halves the amount of liquidity, it's basically 4x the price by doubling the other side. If it's not going through 9mm, it's all going through the XY PulseX pools. That's the basic math that, hey, essentially rough ballpark. No, it never works like that. That's why my math model's horribly wrong. I always warned you, I'm plaguing random variables. And so, yes, some of the models actually got close. But essentially with that kind of still winging it, yeah, that essentially the buy and burn alone, if the market stopped messing with price, would 4x PulseX's price, return it to half of the sack within 8 months. That's always been the beautiful power of the buy and burn. The only way to slow down the buy and burn is for people to start heading it off and buying before it destroys the supply. It's already become essentially a three whale sized portions. Like it's burned over 3% outside of the OA supply. The entire market supply, it's at almost 0.5%.
Wow.
Yeah. Like that thing is just chugging along, doing exactly what it was supposed to. And admittedly, like a little selfishly, like, hey, I'm working overtime because I need to buy these dips. Ooh, do I want to take time out of work to make less money for free to tell people how great the buy and burn's working so that maybe a whale believes me and buys the price up and makes it harder for me? Like, no, I'm not going to sit there and flub my own bags, but it was more advantageous for me to work overtime than keep making videos reminding people that the buy and burn is doing exactly what it's intended. It is a guaranteed buyer in the system always. I'm drunken Michael Saylor that'll never stop getting leveraged up on liquors and lady and buying, and then losing his seed phrases, effectively burning it. Man, I was too drunk. I gave it to this stripper I was with. I don't know.
Cybernetic hornet's nest.
Yeah. So this thing will never stop. It's the T1000. It can't be reasoned with. It can't be bartered with. It's just going to keep removing supply. And the only way to slow it down is to move the price up. So, yeah, it's just doing its job wonderfully. Flawless.
And the point where they'll lower the price, can you talk a little bit about that? Because I don't think people realize the different nuance between the lower the price is, the burning rate, the higher the price is. Is there a blessing in disguise for PulseX being down so much right now, even when we're getting plenty of volume for transactions and stuff?
Yeah, I went over one of these theories where in my math model, when I was showing like an incredible market sell that was insane, like here dumping trillions and trillions over the first year and limited volume soaking it up. Like I ran a model like this. And essentially, like the beauty of it is right now, while it's like this, the more weak hands that get out, the more this snaps up, the less weak hands can get in. Boom. We get the weak hand sell off early, And now this whale will never sell. This whale can't sell. It's deleted it all, burned it all. So it, like, a lot of people think of the burns like, oh man, they've got a burn vault wallet address and they're going to burn 10 million a month or something, and those weird gimmicks around the chains. And this is all dependent on the volume. So as that volume spikes higher, basically it gives Michael Saylor more money to buy PulseX. So he just spends it all. There's no slowing it down. So the more volume, the more it can buy. So obviously the cheaper the price of the asset, the more it can buy. So funny enough, like with this price being so low, it's allowed the buy and burn to just cream it right out. And basically in the next cycle up, there's a lot less weak hands that can sell. It's even harder for these weak hands to get back in. Like normally in a cycle with Bitcoin, these weak hands have dumped into the price and then, oh, well, now it started moving back up. Well, the supply is still technically out there. I can buy it back. Other weak hands might sell it. No, it's never coming back to the market. This little piggy went home. Like, so
Yeah,
when it comes to each cycle, we're going to have less and less shakeouts that are even possible because of this dynamic. I love a deflationary token.